Thoughtful Thursday.
Het is weer donderdagmiddag, het is weer tijd voor Thoughtful Thursday. En vandaag gaan we in gesprek met niemand minder dan Philip Mountford van Hunkemöller. Welcome, Philip.
Good morning.
Hi, Philip.
Good morning.
Let's do it in Dutch. He's here for 12 now.
That really would be funny. We go a long way back, Philip, but I tried it several times.
Yeah, you have.
At least now I know that we can have meetings where everybody can speak Dutch.
Yeah.
And then at least you understand
Most of it.
otherwise you would have a hard life, I guess, at home.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Especially with those young boys that decide to talk in Dutch when they don't want me to understand. Yeah, it's always
tricky situation.
Yeah.
Congratulations with being the best winkelketen.
Yeah.
You understand that?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and as I say with Frank last night, we had to find out exactly how many times we would won it.
Is it still special or not?
It's always special. It really is. I think we won it in most countries as well through Q&A, and it's always special. At the end of the day, it's one of the things that we still pride ourselves on, and it's important. It really is important.
And in the Netherlands now for the 15th time. So all years that the category was awarded, Hunkemöller won it. But if you're looking back, now you are for over 12 years with Hunkemöller. If you would go back with us, the year that you started and you're looking today at the company, what did change?
I mean, lots of CEOs always criticise the business beforehand. And what I inherited was a very commercial ladies' underwear brand, retailer, not brand. It was basically selling good quality Marks & Spencer's type underwear in a white box. So, and it was a good business. It'd gone through troubles, through some turmoils with different changes in management, but it was still a good business. And it wouldn't have won it for 3 years before I joined if it wasn't a good business. So, let's don't criticise your predecessor. What we did was we made a clear decision to take it from, originally it was from a high street retailer to a high street brand. That was our strategy on the wall in my office. And then we put underneath that, we said service, e-com. It wasn't even, omni-channel or even multi-channel at that point. It was just e-com. We talked about passion and we talked about quality. And then we talked about profit. And we had that on a wall. And then we built a very clearly defined service proposition, which was a four-wall service proposition. So it was basically meet and greet, upsell and cross-sell, the fitting room service and the kiss goodbye. And we basically were able to measure all of those and really increase our performance. And we were heavily criticised, I have to be honest with you. Our German and our Dutch managing directors said, you can't bring American behaviour into Holland or Germany. It won't work. People want to dwell. And we said, well, we want to give it a try. And we really changed the service proposition. We put a lot of money, as you know, into training, really a lot of money into training. And we changed the needle in terms of service proposition.
And you are now in very good shape.
Yeah, I know. Look at me.
No. What's the next thing to win?
Well, it's not always about winning. And one of the things that I was at the World Retail Congress and I was talking up there, and I basically said to people, be careful about always doing something because somebody else is doing it, okay? And you go to these conferences and you listen to people and other businesses are doing things. And as a CEO, you've got to decide, if I do that, is it right for my business? Or am I doing it because everybody else is doing it? And for me, it's got to be right for your business. So you've got to listen to other people, you've got to do things. And what we do is that we act quickly. I think as a business, the one thing we do, we act quickly. We're very flat as a business. At the end of the day, I still just see myself as an ex-buyer. That's where I came from. I was a buyer, became a buying director, and I have a feeling for product. And, we act quickly. I still conduct the trading meeting every single Monday. To the annoyance of probably everybody in our building. but it means that I really understand what is going on and we can make fast decisions. Through the pandemic, we were quick to react. As you know, we had very negative press because we were quick to react on rent negotiations. But then everybody followed what we did. But we probably took more of the pain over that. So we were quick to act on what we did with stores, and we were quick to reinvest in technology. While other people were still recovering, we were back investing again. I think that takes courage and foresight, not just from me, because it came from my team, about making sure that we heavily invested to make sure that we got over the next hill. And then what happened was we were heavily investing, and then of course we had the second wave.
Yeah.
But we were much better prepared at that point.
So COVID was a gift, in fact.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all going to look back at it and say that it changed retailing forever. Okay, and it took, everybody says it's not just me. Basically, CEOs did in 3 years. They did in 3 months what they were planning to do in 3 years. I mean, it's a common statement out there, but I really believe it's true. I think people either they succeeded and really went into hyperdrive, or they failed, and it was a really a crossbreed between who acted quickly and who invested quickly, and the people who really didn't invest quickly enough.
But if you're looking back, would you say that the investments that you took with your team a couple of years ago regarding technology, because I believe if I'm looking at your company, you really decided already quite early to become more technology-driven company compared to many other retailers?
Yeah, I mean, Frank, we've been technology-driven for a long period of time, and we've always invested, don't get me wrong. So it's not as though we suddenly invested as we got into COVID. We were already around the 20% e-com penetration, and now this year we're going to be over 40%. So, but in 2 years, we've doubled in terms of the penetration. So, but we were positioned partly because of our incredible loyalty program, where 75% of every single sale is done by somebody we know. We can data mine them. We can personalize their emails. We can do all those things which other people haven't been able to do or are doing, but on a much smaller basis. Certainly not 75% of all of their sales. That's normally a kind of supermarket penetration on member card and data mining. So, we've been doing that ever since I joined. We had a member program which launched the year before I joined. But basically, it was a cash generation thing. They wanted €1 for a plastic card. And in effect, we turned it into, a real data mining ability. So Alexandra Legros and her team have done an amazing job on that. And then, we built already a very strong platform with Salesforce. We invested heavily through the pandemic in a commerce cloud. We brought customer service back in-house, which I wanted to do because I said, why would I spend all this money training my staff in stores, but my customer service is done by somebody else outside that also facilitates everybody else's? I brought it back in exactly at the wrong time because we weren't prepared for the world to change that rapidly. And, we've gone through huge pain, but I do believe it's the right decision. We started with 26 people. I think by the end of this year, we'll have 75 people in that department. And that's still not enough. So, there is a change. We've developed lots of things: click and collect, check and reserve, return to store, click and collect fulfillment and dispatch. So
and ship from store during the pandemic.
Yeah. But going forward, we're going to have a much more advanced dispatch from store. We're going to put it into 200 stores. That will be to speed up the last mile, but just in case we have another pandemic. And then very, very recently, we've invested more into more robotic distribution centres. So,
Do you think it was an advantage that you are with the company for so many years?
I don't think it's an advantage. I really don't. I think normally a CEO's life is 5 years. Let's really be honest with you. There's normally a reason why it's 5 years, because I think at the end of the day, most CEOs are sprinters in life. And at the end of the day, you get worn out, you need time off or time to do things. At the end of the day, I've always said I'm a relay player. Basically, I normally run businesses and I pass the baton over to somebody else and I go on to do something else. And unfortunately, I've run around the track a few times with a baton in my hand and I haven't let go of it. And the reason is...
Or maybe the relay is that every 3 to 4 years, somebody else is the owner of the business.
Yeah.
So maybe they are passing.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they're passing me around rather than me passing the baton around. But I'm enjoying it as much today as I did the first day I joined. I think I'm enjoying it more. And my first 3 months coming to Holland was a baptism in blood. I've lived in Hong Kong, I've lived in Osaka, I've lived in Milan, etc. I thought the Dutch culture would be super easy for an Englishman because nearly everybody speaks English, but I was very wrong, and I've had to really adapt far more than I've ever adapted in any other company or any other country than I had to do before to be able to make it an equilibrium between the two cultures.
Okay. The key customers tells you years ago they want to buy modern lingerie in a great atmosphere and a perfect service. That's a quote.
Yeah.
I read somewhere. Is that still the case?
Yeah, I really do. I mean, the service proposition has to be both physical and digital. So we have to also equally offer, great customer service if you return a parcel, somebody, so we have to also improve that. I'd love to tell you that's perfect. It's not perfect. So there's lots of work for us still to do. The physical element, I still think, somebody said to me very recently, will there be stores in the future? Okay. I really believe there will be. Okay. How they will form, I don't know. Okay. 2 years ago, I would have said it's all about flagships. Okay. It's all about experience. It's about theatre. It's about smell. It's about music. It's about all of those elements. And I still think they're incredibly important. But if I look at the pandemic, it has shifted the consumer from big cities into smaller towns. Stores have gone from being just a place to buy a product to being fulfillment centres. So, we're doing click and collect, pick. So in effect, you're ordering it, you're picking it up in the store, and the store is actually putting that product into a bag for you to turn up. So the role of a store has changed. But I think, service is super important. I came predominantly from a more luxury background. And when I came, this is way back in the KKR Maxeda days, I said to them, basically what I want to do is I want to offer a much better environment than the white box that we had previously. I want there to be smell, I want there to be music, I want there to be well-trained staff, I want them to not wear their own clothes, but to wear clothes that represent our brand, etc., etc. And KKR at that point said, "You're crazy, Philip, we're selling mid-market ladies' underwear. We don't need to do all these things." And I said, "Yes, we do." And we started with a slogan, where we said, we want to become, in effect, a high street brand. Then we moved to a global brand, and then we moved to a social and global brand, and now we're a much loved, inclusive and social brand. So we also re-evaluate what is important to our consumers. And I think, somebody said to me, what is the key ingredients? And my whole thing is we listen to the customer.
If you're looking at when you started, what was at that time the average age of your customer?
Yeah, nearly 40.
And today?
28 to 29. Yeah, so 60% of our customers are under the age of 34. So, it's a very different business. And each country is different. So Holland and Belgium have a slightly older consumer. Germany and Scandinavia have a much, much younger consumer. Russia has a very much younger consumer. And then Spain, funny enough, has a slightly more mature consumer because their body configurations don't need constructed bras until they get slightly older. So it really, at the end of the day, but I think at the end of the day, we've gone past age, even though our consumer is young, because equally, if you look at the consumer, she can be 50 or 15 and basically still wear the same product. Women are not getting older any longer. They really aren't. They're staying younger for really a long period of time, both physically and mentally. So be very careful about pinpointing something on age. It's more about how somebody feels. And if I look at how my mother dresses when she was sort of in her 40s, and then I look at how my wife dresses in her 40s, it is a million miles apart. And I'm sure that when my daughter becomes this age, she will also dress differently. So I think the world has moved on, and there are different requirements. I think when we first started, most of the bra industry was basic. It was Triumph, it was Hamer, it was C&A, it was Marks and Spencer's in the UK. It was basically a practical underclothes.
Yeah.
That was it.
What are the brands today next to Hunkemöller? If you're looking at your competition, what are the brands that are really driving? Not only so for most in Europe, what are the driving brands?
But there are a lot of new brands. I mean, the one thing that I think also we've got to be careful. The lingerie industry became complacent. Triumph became complacent, and we took their crown in lots of different countries. When I joined, we were basically a Benelux business. We only had 38 stores in Germany. We have over 400 to today. So the business has really fundamentally changed. And the competition has changed. If I look at it, we're seeing all these new brands. There's one brand called Honey Birdette, which is out of Australia, but really rapidly growing. There's a really cool young brand in the UK called Lounge, which has gone, it's only 5 years old, and it's already 55 million turnover.
They all have stores also?
No. I said Honey Birdette has limited stores, but e-commerce. Lounge is only e-commerce. So there really are. There's a brand out of the UK which has become very European, called Blue Bella, again only online. So where in the past we all convinced ourselves you can't buy lingerie online without having a physical store. Today you can. Again, it's like when you talk to people in the glasses industry, they said, you can't sell glasses online. You have to go and have an optician. Once you're a 1.5, doesn't make any difference.
Do you see that as a threat, those new brands?
I see it as, they are threats. And I think you should never underestimate some of these new brands because they can become big brands. When I joined, we were, say, less than 180 million. Today, we're well in excess of 700 million. Be careful how quickly brands can grow. And I think, when you're a digital brand, you don't have a physical space. So previously we had to open a store to generate more turnover. Now, in effect, it's just buying additional Google words and doing better works with them.
If you're looking at the Italian brands now arriving via Westfield, also in the Netherlands.
Yep.
Is that a competition you're looking at, or?
Yeah, Frank, we really look at all competition where we don't see ourselves. I think once you think you're great, and you don't start to look at competition, that's when you lose it. I'm scared of competition in a positive way. I don't sit there looking complacently. I look at there and saying, why do they sometimes get to market on a product earlier than us? What are we doing wrong, etc., etc. I think we're very quick to react to trends. A lot of trends in underwear in Europe we create because we're the biggest. But sometimes when you become big, you become an oil tanker, and it becomes difficult to move. I think one of our assets is that we're not an oil tanker. We really are quite agile. But you've got to be careful. Some of these younger brands, they can be super agile. At the end of the day, they can break rules. They don't have the same staffing we have. People haven't worked in the business for so long. It is much easier for those brands really to change culture. So I think people are very naive. Certainly CEOs become really naive when they say, we're number one. Yeah, we are number one. We're number one in Holland, Belgium, Germany, most of Scandinavia, etc. We're nearly number one in most of the markets, and if not number one, number two. But there's a reason, and I think it's very difficult sometimes to be Coca-Cola because you have to make sure that literally Pepsi isn't chipping away at you every single day. Okay, so but lots of brands that become Coca-Colas, they fall away quickly, and I don't want to talk about my competitors, but there are one or two people in our industry that were so iconic that they became complacent and then basically didn't see what they were doing. Needed to change.
How are you connected with the changing desires of your key customers? you say you listen to the client very good, but how are you connected with the changing?
No, but we really listen, not just to, we don't just talk to them about, do you like our underwear? I mean, we do. We send, it's about 150 digital pictures to about 40,000 customers, and about 6,000 to 9,000 of those customers basically spend 30 to 40 minutes telling us, would this product drive us into the stores? Would I, if I was in the store, would I buy it? What price would I buy it? Then we show them the price, and then we would see, they then say, I would still buy it. Okay. So we really, and we can look at it by country, by age, by our customer segmentation, about who likes this product. So sometimes we can get a real rejection to a product, but it is amazing for an under 19s in big cities. So then we put it into our flagships. We even show our advertising to our customer. And once a few years ago they rejected it, and we had to sit there and say, shall we change this? It's a lot of money, but we changed it. So, but we also talk to our customer about the changing way in their behaviour. Now, we've seen massive change in their shopping behaviour due to working from home. Really big shift. Both of which we were able to react to quickly. So the first one was wire-free bras. Fantastic. Beforehand we were doing so little on this, it wasn't even worth talking about. And then it was a coinciding, I'd love to tell you it was strategic. We did a wire-free bra basically as lockdown hit, okay? And it was sensational. We sold over 5 million in literally a 6-week period.
That's running right now also, huh?
Yeah, but now it will be this year close to 30 million turnover just on this wire-free bra. And we didn't really have it before COVID. Okay, we'd already launched it, but literally what we did is after that kicked in, we got back into it so quickly, repeated it, did a whole campaign for this time last year, and then it's just run on. And it has been just phenomenal. And I truly believe that a woman that's bought this wire-free bra, when she goes back to work, she will wear this forever. So it's a fundamental change. Now, how much of it is incremental and how much is cannibalization? We don't know yet. At the moment, it feels like there is definitely an upside for us. People moving away from a wire into a non-wire, super comfortable. We've got great designs in it, and it's been a great opportunity for us. Loungewear, everybody working from home we've had the best 2 years on loungewear ever. And then sports has done incredible. And then
will you also open more purely sports store? You have few of them or not?
No. We really see the growth of HKMX has been online. It has really been sensational. I mean, we've just not been able to keep up with the availability issues. So we see it as a supplement. We tried HKMX stores. They were not great. I think it was too early in that brand's life. It doesn't mean that we wouldn't do it again, Frank. I think we probably will do. And that's been great. But the one that's a bit fun to talk about, we have a private collection. It's always been relatively good for us. In 2019, we were doing 15 million on it. In 2020, we did 28 million.
And so COVID was good for the
COVID was good, yeah. Private was very good. And this year, I think we would do close to 50 million on private. And then our strategic plan will be in 5 years, that our private brand will be 115 million. So it really shows you how big it is. And that's bigger than some of these brands that we're talking about. This is a sub-brand for us. It would be in 5 years' time. It would be bigger than a lot of people's brands.
And is it bigger online than it is?
Yes. I mean, yes. It's very big online. And and I think at the end of the day, that somebody said to me, why do you do so well with private? And I think it is lots of people want to buy this product, but now they're buying it in a very comfortable environment, either digitally comfortable or in our stores. They feel very comfortable walking out with a Hunkemöller bag. No one knows what's inside it. And I think, it's and this product is, it's not taking away or cannibalizing from our core product, because it's for very different end use. And I think, and we've sold it to very young people. So it's a very, normally that's to a more sophisticated consumer. So, COVID has changed. And will things go back? I think some things will soften. There's no question about it at all. Some things will go back to normality. Monday was the first day where, people were really back in our office. The roads are busier. We can feel them. Will we ever go back to where we were in 19? I don't think so. I think there will never be 5 days a week working from the office.
No.
So there will be a very different need for clothing.
3 years, I think it was 3 years ago that you went to China, a retail tour in China, and I saw an interview, and you were very much impressed. The way you said they were way beyond our situation here. Are you on par now?
No. I mean, I think we've really invested in technology. You know, we have things like order in store. Last week, our order in store in Holland was 7.3% of our sales. We put new technology into the tablets. We put new technology into the payments on tablets, so you can literally pay with your Apple on our tablet. So but if I then look at China, they just move forward faster and faster. And I'm also on a board of a brand in China called 68, which has 500 stores in China. So I look at their technology, I look at how fast they're moving forward.
What's their business?
Again, it's a lingerie business, lingerie and fashion apparel. So, but it's more about the technology. It's not about the product. It's more about the technology. They are, you know, we're talking about e-commerce. They're MCOM. They've always been MCOM. You know, we've got 78% of all of our visitors come through MCOM. In China, it's 99%. You know, their new thing is basically e-com. So you know, their phones, if you look at, predominantly always been bigger than the European phone. If you look at, you know, Alibaba, if you look at JD, you know, Tencent, you know, if you look at what these guys are doing, it's revolutionary. I mean, and they've embedded, you know, the local government's apps into their apps. They become a whole lifestyle app. They have banking apps all embedded. They're years ahead of us, and of course they don't have GDPR.
No.
Yeah. And how is your business doing in China? You did start there.
Yeah, we started there, Frank. But you know, we're always, you know, we're a private equity business. It's a very different business to other businesses. It has a start and a finish date, and the stores. We needed 5 or 6 years, and my investor believed that was not the right utilization of their cash. And this is, you know, this is the end of the day when you're always owned by a different bank. We're still doing incredibly well on e-commerce, both with Alibaba and JD, and we see that as a huge opportunity for us. We will go in longer term back into physical stores. It was just the wrong time. But we've got great new markets. We've still got Norway, which we're really growing. Scandinavia is great for us. Russia, we've gone into. We're going to open another 8 stores in Russia this year. We'll have 20 by the end of the year, and we really see Russia as a huge opportunity for us. We still got growth in Austria. We still got growth in Switzerland. I really believe that Holland, Belgium, Germany, we're at our maximum. We've got 400 stores in Germany, 174 stores in Holland, and 102 stores in Belgium. There we basically we're at maximum, and there we will be looking at the portfolio, and basically we will be thinning it down. You know,
so your focus is fast growth.
Fast growth, and it will be through predominantly our growth will predominantly come through digital or new markets. You know, yeah.
If you're looking at this year, 2021 or 2022, what will be the next year? The company will be passed over to another.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
owner.
Yeah, I mean,
because you are the constant factor. The owners are switching every time.
They're the variables. At the end of the day, you know, we've had Maxeda, KKR, we've had PAI, we've got Carlisle, but we had a very clear strategy, you know, and I've been able to, you know, navigate us through different ownerships, and each owner has had faith in my vision and the business's vision, and they've backed us. And you know, no one knows who will buy you. So lots of people said, so what's your future look like, Philip? I don't know what my future will look like, because
you don't want to retire.
No, I don't want to retire. Don't tell my wife that, but I don't want to retire. No, I'm not ready to retire. I love retail. I would love to stay, but it's never your choice. Remember, when somebody else buys you, they could equally turn up and say, "We have our own management team to put in." That's life. I would love to stay. I think that there is a lot of opportunity. If I see, we're now talking about in less than 3 years' time, we will be in excess of 50% omnichannel. We're at 40 this year, and we think we're going to be over 50. Well, we don't think. We know
within the next
3 years we'll be over 50, and by the end of our 5-year plan, we'll be 56, 57% e-com penetration. Yeah. So there for me there is clear strategic vision. There's still physical space growth, but a lot of the space that we grow, we will tidy up the other areas where, in effect, we don't believe we need, or we've got too many stores. So there will be, a sort of smoothing out in our core markets and still a growth in some of these new emerging markets. And, and we see really big growth. This year we've seen really, really strong growth. We're in excess of 20% up, like for like, on last year, with more stores closed for more time. And we're so far in the first 7 months, e-com is 71% up, and last year it was 57% up.
Sounds like champagne every day.
But equally, it also creates issues. It creates picking issues. We've had issues in our third-party e-com facilitators because the German government have only allowed 150 people a shift. So, equally, we've all had complications, but it's about making sure that you tackle those complications and, work through it. Nothing's easy, at the end of the day. If it was that easy, we could all be sitting here talking to you today. At the end of the day, it's not easy.
But if you're looking at Hunkemöller, it's for, I would say, ages. It's already based in Hilversum.
Yep.
In the middle of the city.
Yep.
It's I can imagine it's extremely hard also for truck drivers to get products in and out there. Will you stay in Hilversum?
Well, there's two things. First of all, we will build, and it's already done. Well, it's not done. We will by 2023 January we will have a state-of-the-art new distribution centre with predominantly robots, so doing all the picking. So that element will move, and then within the next year we also have to move out of that building. But we will still try to make sure our head office is in the Hilversum area.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we believe we have a lot of people based around that area. It's we don't we're not sitting here saying we have to be in Amsterdam. We believe we've built up a community there. People, it won't be where we are, but it will be close to a railway station in that Hilversum area. Yeah. And it's time. We've literally grew. We grew up. We worked the number out. We added another 78 full-time people in our Hilversum head office this year. Okay, through COVID, where most people are trimming back, we've added 78 people, and we've got on our plan. I think it was 35 people, which I know will be more than that for next year. So because I'm already having requests from certain directors to add more people to their team. So we're investing in people as well. So we're investing in so the new distribution, which is in Almere, is beautiful. It's on the motorway. There, it's going to be fantastic. State of the art robots. So it's basically robot to man rather than man to pick. Big investment for us, but we believe that there will be still a shortage of people. So we're not doing this. We're doing this because we believe in 3 or 4 years' time we will all struggle to find people. So we've said let's invest now. It's a big investment. It really is a big investment. And you sit there, and for your first few years, you say, "Why are we doing this?" Because we can pay people per hour, and it's not an issue. But I really believe that the world is changing so radically that we need to do things like this to be able to make sure that we're safeguarded. So I want to be, again, one of the first people to do it, not one of the last people to do it.
kind of personal question. You have quite a good reputation, but you're a modest man, as I noticed. What's your mantra to running this company and inspire your team and have the high energy level all the time? What's your mantra?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'm a workaholic, right? But I want to make sure we did a 360. It was the first time I've done a 360. And one of the things that came out from my team was, you work too hard. You know every number, and you come in on a Monday and you know more than all of us. And my coach said to me, well, maybe Philip, what you could do is on a Sunday not look at the numbers and come in. I did it once. I felt so inadequate.
It was a very bad Sunday.
Yeah, really bad Sunday. And I think I lead from the front. One of the things I really said was, and I saw this with CEOs that I've worked for in the past. One of the things that frustrates middle management is CEOs that don't make decisions quickly. And that thing they give you, you put it on the desk and you go, yeah, I'm going to come back to you on that. And what they mean is I don't particularly want to make a decision on it. At the end of the day, if I believe in it, I'll make a decision within a minute, literally. I don't waste people's time. I think people get super frustrated and they waste physical time, saying, has Philip agreed it yet? And for me, we've really made a clear thing that, we want to make decisions quickly. I want to leave this business and I want to hand it over to somebody and I want to stand back and be proud and go, I left this business in beautiful shape and somebody else is going to take it on and take it to the next level. Last night I watched the Schumacher a film, which was really, it was amazing. But at the end of the day, there's all, you sit there and Schumacher is a god. And then now you could equally say, well, Lewis Hamilton is a god. And I think really, in the next couple of years, Max Verstappen will be a god, right? At the end of the day, you're only here for a moment, okay? Leave a legacy, do something for good, in terms of things. So we've done a lot of things. We've been quite at the forefront on sustainability. We've been at the forefront on diversity and inclusion, both in terms of our team and the way we pick our models. Leave something and make sure that you leave a legacy. And it was one of my closest mentors said to me, Philip, remember to always send the lift down for the next generation. Okay. And, I was promoted very young, and it's called Peter Principle, being promoted into incompetence. And I really believe in it, okay, as long as you've got people around you to support people, okay? So I want to have people who we're basically promoting them to the next level, which is a little bit beyond their ability. But let's just do it and support them so we get people who really, they feel like, wow, I've achieved things in life. And, at the end of the day, within the next 5 years, I will be too old to run Hunkemöller, okay? But at that point, we've got a great management team.
Is this also a big proportion of the success that you always granted to good people a position that's a little bit over where they are today? Yeah. But is that part of the success?
It's part of how I've always conducted myself as a manager. I always get very frustrated when people say they can't do that job because they're only 29. For me, it doesn't make any difference about how old somebody is. It doesn't make any difference if they're 21 or they're 51. Okay, for me, it's just about, can you do that job? Okay, and people mature at different ages at different times. I was a CEO when I was 29 of a family department store in London. And, when I was on the board, I was only 27 and I was younger than the directors' children. Okay. And, I've got no fear. I've never had any fear. And somebody said to me, you do realise you are younger than these directors' kids. And then, of course, when I became the CEO or managing director, it was called in those days, I had to manage people that were the age of my father. And for me, it's about, I want to employ people that have no fear, because basically fear gets in the way of things. Equally, you've got to have a bit of that. You've got to have a bit of fear because basically you've got to have fear about competition. You shouldn't get too conceited. You shouldn't get too overconfident that you believe you have this magical solution. You know, and we have got amazing people. I can't tell you. You know, I've got Heis van England, who's my ecom director, who is now on our executive board, who is sensational. You know, I've got Alexandre Legros, who's our marketing director, who is really one of the best of breed. You know, I've got V Patel, who's worked for me 2 or 3 times, who's my COO. You know, we employ good people. I don't employ average people to make myself look good. I employ good people. You know, at the end of the day, I'm a football manager. Okay, I'm not a player. Okay, and you've got to understand that, you know, you can't win on your own. You can only win surrounding yourself with great people. You know, yeah.
When I look at you, the sentence "you can't fake the passion" is so clear. Yeah.
But, you know, I always say no one remembers the person that came second. Unfortunately, I was a real athlete. I was in the I ran for Blackheath Harriers, which is the best club in the UK. And the problem was I was always number 4, so that's why I decided.
So you had to decide
I had to go do
something else. Okay. Thank you so much for your time and joining us here. Dit was Thought of Thursday voor deze week en we zien jullie weer volgende week. Tot volgende week. Dag.
Thoughtful Thursday.